end of the video, just check out this awesome shirt. People's Free Food Program, Black Panther Party. Got this at Imperial. They have a lot of really amazing political kind of activism shirts. Check them out. So, just more war crimes being committed by the U.S. empire, this time with Joe Biden at the head of it as president. So again, complete continuation from the Trump administration. The United States is going to be continuing to be the biggest purveyor of death and destruction all around the globe. Case in point, U.S. carries out raids on Iran-backed militias in Syria and Iraq. Again, these are the same, militias that have been fighting back Al-Qaeda, Al-Nusra in the region, and this is who the U.S. is going after. Again, the U.S. has no legal right, no justification whatsoever besides supporting the U.S. empire and militarism abroad for being in either Syria or Iraq. Syria has been absolutely decimated by this illegal war and intervention in that country. The United States still controls a third of it, along with the oil fields and the kind of breadbasket region of the country, and as the U.S. empire is also starving Syria with sanctions, so they're not able to rebuild. Similar thing in Iraq. We've been in that country since 2003. That illegal war, again, that was started on bullshit pretenses of them having weapons of mass destruction. The Iraqi parliament has voted multiple times to tell the United States government, the military, to get the fuck out of that country. We're obviously not listening. And again, if it was really about protecting the troops, if they're being attacked by these Iran-backed militias, then get the fuck out of those places and it wouldn't be an issue, right? It's obviously not about that. It's about U.S. empire and hegemony. I mean, Jesus Christ, so disgusting. Again, that's why I could never bring myself to vote for Joe Biden, because I knew the U.S. empire would continue to exist, would continue to bomb, destroy, and crush people in the global south for no reason except they are standing up against the U.S. empire. And I, in good conscience, could never fucking vote for somebody like Joe Biden who would continue to perpetrate these just egregious crimes against humanity. It's fucking disgusting. In response to drone attacks against U.S. personnel and facilities in Iraq, with the militias threatening to retaliate again. If we weren't there in the fucking first place, they wouldn't be able to attack it. The people in Iraq don't want us in their country. Why the fuck aren't we listening? Get the fuck out. It wouldn't be an issue. I mean, Jesus Christ. These 5 fighters were killed, several others wounded. Attacks came at the direction of President Joe Biden. Second time he has ordered retaliatory attacks against Iran-backed militias since taking office 5 months ago. Ordered limited, yes. I mean, look at the framing of this by Al Jazeera. Limited bombing against a target in Syria in February, this time in response to rocket attacks in Iraq. Oh, Jesus Christ. As demonstrated by this evening's strikes, President Biden has been clear that he will act to protect U.S. personnel and is willing to kill people in the Middle East indiscriminately, the Pentagon said in a statement. Jesus Christ. I mean, I don't know what else there's to say. Like, it's so fucking just disgusting. This, no matter who is president, Democrat or Republican, the U.S. empire fucking rolls on. The war machine continues to be just bloated, out of control. Though the United States spends more on bombs and destruction than the next 10 countries combined, and yet we can't get universal fucking healthcare. Pretty interesting, right? God damn. Since the start of the year, there have been more than 40 attacks against U.S. interests in Iraq, where 2,500 American troops are deployed as part of an international coalition to fight what remains of the ISIL group. Which, right, wasn't ISIS literally created in Iraq because of the power vacuum that was created by the Iraq War by taking Saddam Hussein out of power? Pretty interesting, right? Jesus. To pressure Washington to withdraw all the troops. Which, again, if we really cared about the fucking troops, we would not be there in the first place. How is that, again, serving American interest? How is that defensive? I mean, it's so fucking disgusting. I think Rania Calic had a good Twitter search. Rania Calic. How did I spell her name? Rania Calic. There we go. Definitely a good follow. Check out her work. 7 million communists in the U.S. I'm one of them. Growing radicalism in the U.S. Again, how could you not be radicalized living in this fucking disgusting piece of shit capitalist hellhole, imperial core? AOC didn't say a single word about Mike Growl, but yeah, she did praise John fucking McCain, that warmongering piece of shit. Pro Al-Qaeda airstrikes. And a side note, amazing no one ever seems to question why the U.S. military's position at an oil field in Syria, while Syrians are denied access and experiencing fuel shortages. U.S. military is occupying Syria's oil fields, and it's considered totally normal. Something I mentioned earlier. Not that I could tell. I think maybe Ilhan Omar. Good. Yeah, so that's some real retaliation. Iran-backed militias. This obscures what they are. Iraqi with domestic interests. They fought ISIS with Iran's help with the U.S. policy field ISIS. They're pissed the U.S. murdered the commander and has since refused to leave Iraq. They're talking about Soleimani, right? Probably Qasem Soleimani. Yeah, this is the one I was talking about. The Americans didn't want to be targeted in Iraq. They shouldn't have murdered Qasem Soleimani and Abdul Mahdi al-Muhandis and then remained in Iraq after being told to leave. There's a price for these things. You can't murder a military occupy with zero resistance. Yeah, what the fuck do you expect is going to happen? You're occupying their fucking country. They don't want you there. There's been massive protests saying that exact same thing. Get the fuck out. Again, their parliament has voted at least once, I think maybe multiple times, overwhelmingly, telling all U.S. forces, get the fuck out of the country. We're not doing that. What the fuck do you think is going to happen? You're an occupying force. They're literally, under international law, allowed to use any means necessary to get you the fuck out of their country. The 4 young men who were killed by the Americans while guarding the Iraq-Syria border, one was from Shabak ethnic minority cleansed by Daesh. Hussein Ali Abdul Husseini al-Badani, Qarar Saddam Sad Hadman al-Muhad Dwami, Qarar Abdul Aziz al-Shabaki, Muhammad Rami Majad all for Tutsi, all for, again, standing up against this illegal occupation that the U.S. empire is continuing to perpetrate. And I apologize. I probably, mispronounced their names. I mean, but for fuck's sake, that is why I could never support Joe Biden, because I knew this same shit was going to continue to happen, and then would be treated with kid gloves by the fucking U.S. media, as it always has. Let's see, maybe let's see what Max Blumenthal said on this. And the whole lesser of two evils shit obviously never extended beyond the fucking borders of the U.S. Yeah, that's another story I'm gonna do in a second. Among the Hassad al-Shababi members killed on orders of Joe Biden was a young man who joined the unit to defend his ethnic group against genocide by ISIS. This is who Joe Biden just ordered to be fucking murdered in cold blood. Think about that. People who are literally fighting fucking ISIS so their ethnic group wouldn't be cleansed. That's who Joe Biden just ordered to be fucking murdered in cold blood. Lesser of two evils, though, right? The U.S. regime also bumped off PMF leader Muhandis and Soleimani, who orchestrated the defeat of ISIS. Jesus Christ. Yeah, you're not going to get this type of coverage or analysis in the fucking mainstream media. They're just going to parrot the State Department fucking talking points and cover up for these just disgusting war crimes. So the U.S. regime continues its tradition of bumping off the enemies of ISIS who defended and besieged minority groups from genocide. I mean, Jesus Christ, I just don't know what else there's to say. It's just fucking disgusting. Disgusting on every fucking level of what the U.S. government, the military does all over the globe, just killing people, destroying communities, destroying infrastructure, starving people to death with sanctions like they're happening on Iran right now, Syria, Venezuela. It's just so fucked. So fucked. Like the video if you like the damn video. Subscribe for more content. All part of the people. Peace. Much love.